Yep, I done went live. I know I said I was not gonna go live anymore for a while, and I did. It was a while. 14 days is a lot for me, being that I have a platform that is monetized, you know. But I wouldn't care if it were monetized or not, because it's never been about going live to create wealth. It's always been about going live to deliver a message. And so the last time I was on here, the message I gave was I'm I'm in a process of finding myself, and in that process, I felt like I needed to remove myself from the things that I do unconsciously. I thought maybe if I disappear into a dark room or don't listen to any music, don't listen to any noise, whether it's good or bad, if I just tune everything out, then it'll all be better. I tried it. It haven't gotten worse, I would say. My life is my life is very interesting to myself because I think I reached a point where all the things I didn't think was achievable, I achieved them. And then I looked out and had no more goals. Like the goals I had for myself, I achieved them, and I didn't see anything else on my list. So I panicked, you know, I panicked. And then I think I got scared, you know. I never had that type of fear. I had a fear that maybe my life was coming to an end. Maybe I had reached my limit. But you only can have those type of thoughts when you have done so much digging. Like a lot of people don't really understand when I say I dig for answers. You know, as a kid, I always wanted to understand the purpose of life. That challenge is so hard on me. I make it so much of a burden in my life that I create chaos for myself because I'm willing to listen to anybody. I'm willing to understand how do this world work, from a person that hate living, from a person that love living, from a person that they say is a genius, from a person they say is a moron. Like I'm willing to listen to anybody that say, "Hey, I know how the world works. I know the purpose of life," because I wanted to understand all sides. I always wanted to know why, when, where, how, who, what. And at the age of 33, I finally reached that point to where I stopped caring about everybody else's opinion on what is life, the purpose of living, the purpose of why we here. It seemed like I've been in these shoes so many times, man. Seemed like I've been in these shoes so many times. Seemed like, they say deja vu, and that's one of the things that I really want to erase from my vocabulary. I really want to erase it from my mind, but when you have been listening to the noise for so long, and when you've been listening to other people trying to give you their opinion on how life works, it's hard to remove that from your conscious. It's hard to remove driving the speed limit when your life been revolved around driving the speed limit. You know, like for an example, if I want to go over the speed limit, and I'm with my lady, she might feel some type of way because in her world we should follow the rules. In my world, I follow the rules, but at the same time, I'm used to going over the speed limit. You feel me? So we have two different viewpoints on how the world works and the rules, and you're trying to fit those in with another person, and life can be complicated when you start doing that. This is why, man, like, we really have to stop listening to so much. We have to take a step back from listening to anybody, including myself, because no matter how strong you is, bro, you're still taking in information from whatever you're listening to. Like, especially if a person is negative, if a person is a bad view, it's a bad reflection on what you're trying to do. And what's good, I see y'all in the chat, man. I appreciate y'all popping in. I just wanted to come and communicate, on what's going on in my world, and because it's going on in somebody else's world as well. Like, if it's going on in my world, it's going on in somebody else's world. I'm not the only person going through this. I'm not the only person dealing with this. So maybe just having a conversation, somebody else are reflecting, But like I said, everybody have their own opinion. And I choose to ignore your opinion of what you think life is. It's so many people trying to tell you how to live in this world. There's so many people trying to direct you and guide you. When you start taking in all this information, man, you can really do damage to yourself. So, let me see. How do I stop this? I wanted to remove the comments, so I don't see them. Let's see. All right, so I don't see the comments because I'm really not here to have a discussion. I'm telling you, that's one of the issues I have. So many people trying to give their opinion, and like I said, I have done it also, and I have gave my opinions on many things. So many things that I have learned from somebody else, but at the same time, it's like, when are we learning from ourselves? I know they see it's so much of a trap to learn from yourself because you can put yourself in a dangerous situation. So yes, we should learn from other mistakes and we should pay attention to the world, but at the same time, you have to monitor and balance out what you're learning, because at some point you're going to have a battle between what you have learned and what you have been taught. And like I'm a very strong dude mentally, but man, one of the biggest fight that I have right now is within myself because I have learned so much. And man, people say knowledge is power, but knowledge will make you go crazy. It'll have you fighting yourself. It'll have you down yourself. You pick up so many ways to solve a problem. And yes, it's good to solve that problem. You have so many options. But man, when the problem becomes you, it's a different story now. It's like I have learned so much that I have made myself a problem for my own thoughts, because I start to say who is right. And how do I know your way is the right way? And Every one of us has been taught a right and a wrong. You know, so many people say it's wrong to kill. And this would make me frustrated with who is teaching us. So many people say it's wrong to kill. But so many people believe in wars. So many people fun, celebrate deaths, watch it like it's nothing. So many people kill insects, kill animals, kill cockroaches, bugs, like it's nothing. But we have these beliefs and these rules that say, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And in my personal heart, I feel it's wrong to take any life. You know, like I said, when I see bugs and stuff, I feel like, what if it was you? You know, but then you have this instinct that say, okay, when you look out in nature, you see the lions taking the goddamn zebra by the neck, running off. You see baby cubs being killed. You know, it's just like, you see these things, right? And you try to rationalize it and say, okay, there must be a place for this type of activity. There must be a place for death, for killing, you know, if we want to say it like that. But it makes you feel like, damn, you know, is it meant to be this way? You know, and then, like I said, you start overthinking that type of situation. You start, you know, reflecting like, I see an ant, a spider. Is this spider gonna harm anybody? Should I kill it right now? You know, you start feeling like, I don't want to harm that spider, you know? Who told me that this spider is a threat to me? Okay, based on what I have been told, there's a chance that this can be a poison spider and he bite me and I die. Okay. There's also people that say, should you fear death? So should I kill this spider because I fear death? Or should I kill this spider because of what? You know, you start having all these type of mixed emotion and mixed feelings when it comes to this type of stuff. You know, you living in this world and you want to do the right thing, and you get to start being frustrated with what is right and who makes the rules on what is right. And that's why I say a lot of time I question, like, who life am I living? Are we living a life that we created? Are we living a life that somebody else modified in a way for us to think that we're making choices? And I remember I told somebody this one time. I said, we don't make choices. We assume we make choices. But in reality, a lot of us, the choice that we're making in life has already been set up for us to make them choices. And it's just like when we talk about poverty, when we're talking about kids that come from the inner cities with no family, no support system, what choice do that kid has to make? The choice has already been made. We hear people say, oh, you know, it can be another choice. You can make another route. You can. How do a baby not do what a baby does with someone guiding and telling the baby not to make that choice? How do a baby learn how to walk? How do a baby know the stove is hot? How do the baby, like, if, because there's a choice, you know, to be made right there, the baby can make the choice to say, okay, I keep trying something and I fall. But I'm pretty sure is that if that baby was to fall and have the belief, but see, it goes back into the baby not really confined to, like, the baby is confined but not the way that we are confined. Okay, if I'm making sense, the baby has unlimited abilities because we, as most parents, we would let the baby get out there and test out things, try out things. But as an adult, you understand that your abilities of unlimited access to whatever you want to do, you know that's consequences. See, a baby don't have too many consequences. Now, some of us, we might put consequences on a baby, but in reality, most of us, we let a baby do what a baby do. We know the baby is unconscious to whatever he or she is doing, so go ahead and do that, baby. But when you get to an age of consequences, you know, hey, you're going to get a spanking if you keep doing that. Hey, you know, you're going to get punished if you keep doing that. So now we start to condition the little baby that's growing up into an adult. We start to condition that person into a world of somebody else. So it's like, as a baby, you get to be free in this world. You get to make mistakes. You get to do things. You get to run crazy. You get to scream at your parents. You get to not go to sleep. You can stay up as long as you want. We're going to do whatever going to make the baby happy. But then as you start to grow, that baby don't have enough free will anymore. So it's like a lot of us, we think we have free will, but a lot of us have been stripped of the free will that we think we have. How do you have free will? It's the options, only the option that's placed in front of you. How do you have a say-so in your life if you've been guided through a particular door based on your background, based on your condition, based on your situation? And, you know, a lot of us, we hope, you know, when you come from poverty, you hope people give you a chance. You hope somebody see the light in you. You hope somebody say, you know what, young man, young lady, I'm going to give you a chance. Let's just say some of y'all, you going for a job interview. You going in there at somebody else's mercy, hoping they give you an opportunity. You know, it's not yours. You come in here to do a service for me, and it's up to me to allow you to do that service, so therefore you can make this thing called, you know, money, you know, to live in the world that you're trying to live in or create for yourself. But it's still all based on somebody else. Like, at what point in life are you actually free? And that's what I'm dealing with, man. You know, when you realize and we start thinking about a lot of this stuff, a lot of people choices are molded for them. People go to college. Like, how many people spend millions of dollars for college and don't get what they're actually going to college for? But ain't nobody stopped it though. That's what I'm saying. Like, everybody know scams. Everybody know who's scamming on. Everybody know insurance is a scam. Everybody know the car insurance, health insurance. These people making millions of dollars off us. Everybody know this stuff. But where is the person or the people that say, no more will we voluntarily comply to these things? And that's what made me feel like the world is a joke. The world that a lot of us live in is completely rigged, made up, and who is living who is really living? Who is really living? That's what's going on in my head. Like, I want to really live. But the way that it's set up, if I really wanted to live, let's just say you have so many restrictions to living free. But you can live free. But look at the suffering that the people that live free, the homeless people, that's living free. But look at what they have to go through to live free. So you say to yourself, I don't want to go through that if I got to live free like that. But then, you know, somebody else will say, I seen one of the dudes I like. I used to, you know, when I still I don't listen to a lot of stuff no more. But one of the guys I was listening to, he said all these amazing things, but he still said he got to pay his light bill. You know, it's like, damn. How do we know all this, but we still got to pay light bill? We still got to pay rent. You still got to go put gas in your car. So it's like, what you're debating for about who's conscious and who unconscious when you got to apply by the same rules of the unconscious people. So you conscious, but you live in the world that is structured around evil people. So what that make you? Because you know the right, and once again, what is right and what is wrong? What is good? What is bad? Everybody got 1,000 definitions, 1,000 ways to you know, they say what is 100,000 ways to die. You know, everybody got a story. So whose story is right? And how you know this story is right? You know, so that's what's, you know, be going on in my head, man. It's like, you know, you get feelings. I get feelings. So when I'm doing something that's right, or what I think is right. But you know, man, a lot of the stuff that we have been taught is being exposed for, you know, like, let's just go into, you know, a lot of us, we've been taught as a kid about God and stuff like this. Then you find out that, like let's just say for slavery. So many people thought slavery or what we believe, because some people said slavery wasn't real. You know what I'm saying? Because when you start getting into all that shit, you hear people say it was made up. You know, it wasn't real. Then you hear it was real. You hear they came on the ship. Then you hear they didn't come on the ship. You hear we belong here. We hear it don't belong here. Like, it's so many different versions. You'll really be like, nigga, whose virgin is the right virgin? Everybody is trying to get something. Everybody is trying to have the world work better for them. Everybody is selling shit. You know, nobody is out here, you know, and that's what it, like, when it comes to, I seen so many great YouTubers start off giving the message or whatever their message was. And then you see so many people say, hey, yeah, I used to give this message away, but now this message come at a price. You know, you can't obtain this knowledge that I have to offer you without a price to it. And the price can be anything. It can be money, it can be love, it can be support, but it's always like, what happened to the innocent of just being able to share whatever your understanding is? You know, man, it goes back into college. Like, why is these things that's supposed to help move our country forward, why are we selling it? Why do we even have that mindset to, I want to sell information that can benefit your life? None of this stuff makes sense to me. And it just got to a point to me, like, where I'm tired of living a lie. And once again, is it a lie? I'm tired of living in a game that I don't think is beneficial to all of us. Like, deep inside of me, I want to find the answers. And a lot of it tells me that I am the answer. You know, like, if I was to believe in something, that's the strongest I can believe. Like, okay, whatever I'm looking for is in me. Like out of all the noise I done heard of, everybody having their thing. You a God, I'm a God, she a God, he a God, believe in this, believe in that. The thing that sit with me the most is okay, it's gotta be within me. It's gotta be something that I'm searching for that's already in me. But it's like there are so many options. And I think that's where, like, when you're a curious person, I think you tend to get yourself in trouble, man. You know, I want to understand so much. I want to understand. I want to get it. I want to understand like how we get here. I want to understand the ancestors, the generations, and all these things. But it's like you get told a piece of information, and then you say it's no longer classified information. Here's goes the information. You're like, what the fuck? So y'all lied about this? You know, it's just like so many of us, we able to see reality. And you know, I think reality have a lot of truth, but we also know reality can be manipulated as well. So it's like, but for the most part, usually reality equal truth. For the most part, of what I see. Um, but it at the same time, somebody else is creating that reality, so it's still not your truth. Because once again, there are certain things that's mandatory in this world. So I'm saying, like, how do we get to stay on our own paths? And when have you ever been on your own paths if from the time you was born, you was following somebody else's guidelines? From the time you was born, you was oversaw by somebody. From the time you was born, you was given rules by somebody. From the time you was born, like I said, as a baby, they allow you free will, but you still have principles and guidelines. So it's like, at what point do the person in the mirror, the thing that you see in the mirror, at what point do you get to make decisions based off of you? When have you ever lived? I don't know if it's making sense to you, but that's what I'm going through in my head. Like, at what point did I live in this world? At what point did I live in this world? When? When did I live? If I'm drinking Kool-Aid, that's somebody else's mindset. That's somebody else's creation. When did I create my own juice? When did I create the family? Okay, I create the family. Create kids. I was asking my lady the other day, why is there no body teaching kids about parenting in high school? Why? Why is there not a mandatory class on teaching kids how to be parents? We know the statistics of kids having kids, but yet there's not a mandatory class in middle school, high school, to teach kids about raising kids. Why? Some of this stuff don't make sense. It don't make sense. We cry and mourn deaths, but yet we send people to wars daily. What makes your life worthier and more suitable to live than the person that just got killed in the war? How you know your country doing the right thing? Like, all this stuff just don't make sense. Don't make sense. We know cigarettes is bad. Yet nobody has made a fucking suicide vest to say we should stop smoking cigarettes. Cigarettes has a thing called secondhand smoke. There's a nigga smoking a cigarette that not only affecting him but affecting the next person. How we okay with this? This is what I'm saying. What is real? When everything around us is, we know it's fucked up, but nobody is making a difference or change on I'm talking about, how can the government mandate you to go to school, but they can't mandate drugs not to be crossing our borders, flown in our airs? How can the same people that mandate rules like if you spank your kid, there's a possibility that that kid can report you, you go to jail. But these same people create artificial robots knowing that it's a replacement of work for the actual humans that need jobs. This the type of, like, none of this stuff makes sense. Nothing about the world that we live in makes sense, and it's not your game. How is somebody that's been dead 40, 50 years still have a say so in what we do in 2025? How do a motherfucker that's 80, 90 years old still get to sit on the Senate? How do the president why is the president only serving 4 terms, but the people on the Senate can be there forever? How do that stuff, like, what? We so invested into chaos. You know, I just want to do right by myself. I want to, not like by myself, I want to do right by me. I want to do the right thing. But how do I know if I'm doing the right thing? Because the people I work with, the people that we claim is so good for the world, when you go behind closed doors, these people don't care about the world. These people don't care about the next person's life. Everything is just so non-organic. And I'm trying to figure out what is right, what is wrong. And I had this same conversation with my mentor, and he said, as long as you're trying to figure out what's right and wrong, you will keep chasing your tail. But I don't get this experience. It's not making sense. Why do we come here to serve? Why do we have drug addicts, drug dealers? Why do we have rapists? What's the purpose of that? People say we come here to get an experience. We're souls living in a human experience. What reason would a God come and experience any of this? What? When you start thinking about some of this stuff, it don't make sense to me. What reason would somebody that living somewhere else choose to come and be molested by his uncle? What reason would somebody be abandoned by their mother, their father? Well, who would want to go through that? What reason would you want to be stabbed and killed by the person you love? Who want to experience some shit like that? So the people that telling us these things, you got people fighting over religion. You got people fighting over school supplies. You got motherfuckers fighting over food in the drive-thru. You got niggas having road rage, getting out their cars, killing somebody. What type of experience is this? Who in they say who agreed to let's go down and if you know how they say let's go down to earth and have a what the fuck? They say the biggest battle is in within. But you see how I gotta say they? Cause I didn't teach myself this shit. So everything that I have to go off of is off another person's knowledge. The only thing I can see that I have created is kids. Everything else was designed by somebody else. Somebody else had their hand in everything else I have done in my life. The only thing that I know of was getting someone pregnant and they had a baby. That's the only thing that I know that I have put my hands in. Everything else is orchestrated by the people that is in control. Like, how you gonna tell me I'm running my life when, okay, you're gonna say you're gonna give me a choice. You do run your life, okay, but the situation that they put you in, you run your life, okay. You don't have to live in these conditions. You can go live in the forest. Motherfucker to brainwash you for I don't know how many years you've been living, then told you it's every animal known to man out there. They're gonna eat your ass up. So you want me to say that I have free will to go live in the forest versus being in the stipulation of mankind, go get me a house, some wood, and a roof. I'm gonna live in that environment. Why the fuck? You done already brainwashed to tell me that the nigga, I'm gonna go out in the woods and get bit by a snake. What I'm saying is, for every door you think you escape through, there's a backdoor option to play on you and say, that's not really real. You know, one of the that really gets to me, it's not get to me, but it's just so, it's so, not too long ago, you know, the Billy Carson dude, he had a debate with somebody. And the dude, they was debating about God and the Bible and all that stuff. Or the you know, if you know Billy, I think his name Billy Carson or something, the black dude, you know. But we ain't even got to use him. Let's just see. You hear about all these people that say, these preachers. How we still have preachers today? We got people that preaching some shit that they don't even believe in and live by. Nobody said to themselves, we should be getting away from this. Like, everything around us is full of scams and liars. We got non-profits, organizations making millions of dollars through scams, but they supposed to be non-profit. We got motherfuckers actually taking in donations from non-profits, keeping the money. Huh? We got a motherfucker that'll put a commercial on TV and tell you to feed the homeless kids, and you find out the kids are not even homeless. Or you find out that the kids are in a fucked up situation, but the organization is keeping all the money. You got a motherfucker that had fucked up water in Flint for how long? But everybody out here is throwing away bottles of water left and right, drinking half of the water, but we can't. None of it makes sense. Who designed a game like this? Who would do something? Who would do something like that? You have a child. Let's say any of y'all have kids. Would you actually put your kid through some of these type of scenarios? Would you actually be okay with some of this stuff that you know going on in this world? Would you be okay with your child taking parts in this? You know, another thing. I told you, I used to be very afraid of gay people because the way that the world made them look sound like they were some evil people. They're gonna come out and kidnap you, and they got, I was afraid of them. So when they say that homophobic shit, yeah, I really was homophobic, nigga, until I realized they was people. But at the same time, I was afraid to have a son because when you look at how the world is today, they make it so okay with being homosexual. And then, you get this belief that this is wrong. What you're doing is wrong. If so many people say that this lifestyle is wrong, why do so many people glorify it and accept it? It's just like they say selling drugs is wrong, but so many people accept it. We all know and understand the condition that whoever is running that system is using. Just like they say they use chemicals. A lot of people are homosexual because of the chemicals in the food, chemicals in the water. We found out that they was running tests on the frogs in California. You're like, what the fuck? So they turned the whole group of frogs gay? They found out it worked, then they put it on the people. We found out that they fucking over the water, they fucking over the food. Niggas are having, one of the biggest things when I was coming up as a kid was high blood pressure, diabetes. Diabetes was the number one thing. Now, nigga, you hear about all kind of shit. Niggas should be scared to eat any type of, like, everybody used to say back in the days was America was a fat country. Everybody over here fat. You'll find out that, nigga, look at what they put in the food. You get old and you like, nigga, no wonder we all got diabetes. Look at what they doing to the food. Everybody know. It still haven't been stopped. This is why I say a lot of this shit, man, it just, because this is way, because see, I thought more than for myself. When I used to see the kids on the TV, it used to do something to me. They had the flies flying around them. But then you find out, like, a lot of this shit is just psych pop. Like, a lot of this shit is crisis actors. You find out that if you really got money, you can move the president a certain way. You can move politics a certain way. Like, when you really got that paper, like, for example, Elon Musk. You find out, see, when you start paying attention, and then you go watch all these old mobster movies, and you think, okay, the mobster style and the way that they bought their politicians, their cops, they're gone. No, they still doing it today. You think How you think some of these presidents get all this money to go and put on a campaign? They getting it from the people that are doing the illegal shit. You know motherfuckers ain't just getting filthy rich like that. But none of that shit even matter. Because none of it really matter. And I haven't figured out how to turn it off that it don't matter. Because it affecting people that I think is real. Because I think you're a real person I'm talking to. So if I think you're a real person that I'm talking to, I assume that you're being affected by the bullshit that's going on in the world, then it affects me. Because I don't know how to turn it off to not care about the person that's watching this. I believe you're a real person, and I believe I should want the best for you, just like I want for myself. Just like I want for my kids, my family. But it's like, we all know bullshit, but it sounds so good, and we've been conditioned for so many years to where, nigga, how can you not fall for a scam? Who in here said they ain't never fell for a scam before? Nigga, what? You ain't never been tricked in your life? How can you not be tricked when everything is around you is fabricated? You don't know what to believe, who to believe. Everybody got their own system, and you just trying to figure out, like, nigga, am I going the right direction? Somebody over here gonna say yeah. Somebody over there gonna say no. Somebody over there gonna say yeah. Somebody over here gonna say no. You're like, nigga, what the fuck? So you're supposed to believe you, the person that ain't never lived on nothing. You ain't never did nothing you decided. Because everything that you decided, you seen on TV, you seen in a movie, you seen in a book, you heard about from somebody else. You ain't never had your own thoughts. And that's what I'm saying. Like, how we choosing, why are we in a world that we don't have our own thoughts, and how do we get our own thoughts? Do I supposed to go to the woods and just, okay, I'm supposed to go to the woods, turn everything off, and then I have my own thoughts? My nigga, come on, man. I'm not finna go in there. Is that me saying I refuse to go get my thoughts? I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Like, this shit can be, because, okay, say I go to the woods and live in the woods. What do that do for me? Would I did find peace within myself? If I go live in the tree, go build me a nest? I don't know, man. I'm you know, I'm just trying to do the right things in this world, and I'm trying to get the answers. And everybody got a different story. You know, there's a group for every scenario. There are groups of people that believe we should be eating each other. There's groups of people that believe you should eat me, I should eat you. So everybody got a space for everything. There's a group of people that look at little kids and think about having sex. How do you even get there? How do you even have the mindset to want to fuck a baby? What? How do you get to be a grown person having a thought process to fuck a child? And see, that's what wrong with me. I want to know how you get that. I want to know how you get the mindset to say, this little 5-month-old baby, I want to fuck it. How do a person get that? How do a person get the mindset to say, not only do I want to kill myself, I want to kill everybody else? How do that happen? What type of shit is going on to a person think those type of thoughts? Not only think those type of thoughts, but act on them. I don't know, but I want to know. I want to know why, how, when, where, what. And because I want to know things like this, like I said, most importantly, I want to understand, how do you even know yourself? How do you start learning yourself? How do you know yourself when every idea, every thought that come into your head, 9 times out of 10 came from somewhere else? Every thought that you're thinking right now, every idea that ever came into your head, most likely came from somebody else. So how do you get to learn you? Motherfucker tell you, go learn yourself. If all I ever did was collect information, when did I produce all my own information? That's what I want to know. What information I produced it on myself? But like I said, a lot of this stuff, people should write this off as this nothing, but it's serious. When do we get to learn us, and how? How do you reset everybody else's information in your head? What's the point of collecting information? But then you will start saying to yourself, did they set it up like that? Did they set it up like that? Because like I said, every time we think we're escaping, you're just running to another door. The conscious community is so, it's another game banging set. People be feeling like, oh, I know the answers. You know the answers to what? You're still gonna follow the same rules that the next nigga follow. So what, you gonna eat some lettuce? Motherfucker be talking about I eat healthy. What? How you eat healthy when they told you they do the shit to everybody's food? How you eat healthy? How you think you eat because you eating lettuce and tomatoes? You think you got some healthy shit when it comes from the same nigga that made the burgers? The same nigga that told you ain't no eggs, it's the same nigga that giving you eggs. How you eating healthy, but I'm not? That's when I be like, this shit don't make sense. All our information, all our resources come from the same organizations. The same group of people that run this, run that. The same niggas that tell us to stay in school is the same niggas that making songs to tell us not to go to school. When do we get to create our own world? And how do we do it? Is it possible? Is it possible to create your own thoughts? Is it possible? I want to know the answers. Is it possible to create your own thoughts? Is it possible to have a thought that nobody else had? Is it possible? They said nothing new is under the sun. Nothing new. This is what they say. Who said it? I don't know. Somebody said it because I got the information from somewhere. I didn't say that. I didn't think that shit. I didn't tell myself there's nothing new under the sun. Somebody made that saying years of fucking ago. And now I'm saying it in 2025. When do we get... Do you even want to have your own thoughts? Do you want your own thoughts? Do you want to be free? What is being free? My mic going dead, so I don't know how much y'all heard and didn't hear. Everybody got their own reason, the purpose of why we here. I want to find out why we here. I don't want nobody to tell me their perspective, because who told you why you here and why you believe what they said? Why you believe that? Why should I believe you? Why should you believe me? I ain't asked you to believe nothing over here, because I'm like, nigga, the information I got came from somebody just like. I might keep going dead, so I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all have a good one, man. I'm just trying to find some answers. That's all. Just trying to find some answers.